It is 5:30 and I'm calling this meeting to order. First, a reminder, meetings of the select board are meetings conducted in public. They are not meetings of the public. Nonetheless, members of the public shall be afforded reasonable opportunities to express opinions about matters conducted by the select board so long as order is maintained. The rules for public comment are, at the conclusion of a select board discussion on an agenda item, but before any action is taken, there may be 10 minutes afforded to public comment. Comments made by the public must be addressed to the chair, to the select board as a whole, and not to any individual members of the select board or members of the public. Members of the public must be acknowledged by the chair before speaking. If a member of the public has already spoken on a topic, they shall not be recognized again until others have first been given the opportunity to comment. Order and decorum shall be maintained throughout the meeting. Personal, impertinent, threatening, or profane remarks will not be tolerated. For those who are participating via Zoom, please note that chat is not an appropriate avenue for public comment. All public comments must be made verbally when acknowledged by the chair. Please silence all cell phones, and a reminder to all that this meeting is being recorded and may appear on the internet. So, first, are there any adjustments to the order of the agenda?
I have none.
Is anybody, Nader, Fletcher? No? Okay. Okay, moving on to select board comments and remarks. Does the select board have anything to mention? Anybody else?
I would like to know whether there's a face on my pumpkin.
No, there's a, no.
Not yet.
We could add that to the agenda, pumpkin carving.
I think there should be a contest.
Nate, do you have anything? Okay. So next is the approval of minutes of October 16th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes October 16th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of October 16th, 2024. Does anybody have any changes, additions, deletions, typos? Nate or Fletcher?
I wasn't present, so I think I'll sit this one out.
Okay. All right, so then hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and one abstention. Next is warrants to the treasurer.
Make a motion to approve and execute the warrants of the treasurer upon completion of review.
I don't have them. Is there a second?
I hope you all have them. Does not look that way, huh?
Yeah, we don't have them.
Oh, they're in the back.
Oh,
Tricky.
No.
All right.
No? Oh, no, that's the, sorry, that's the budget.
budget.
Sorry, I just saw numbers and I thought they were
All right,
there.
can I get a second first and then we can all look over my
Second.
shoulder? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve and execute the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review, which will be more fun than ever.
Sorry about that,
so-
folks.
so
We can get
Karen-
you copies. I can have Rachel. I don't think
more
it's,
copies or
yeah, I really don't think you should
just look
be,
at it quick?
you need to
Wait,
look
this
at
isn't-
it.
I can glance quickly.
This isn't the, this looks weird.
What do you have there?
Check warrant report, accounts payable, it just looks different. It's broken down by,
Looks like it's got more detail on it.
yeah. Okay, Karen, proceed.
Payroll warrant dated November 1st, 2024 in the amount of $23,286.75.
Anybody have any questions on the payroll? I assume either of you have it, so usually you don't get the warrants if you're online. Okay.
No, I have no comments on that.
Moving on to accounts payable.
Accounts payable dated October 19th through November 1st, 2024 in the amount of $120,792.65. They're, normal monthly. The other thing too in here is the social agency appropriations. So those are all in there, plus any assessments, intergovernmental assessments like CRT. Let me see, what else is in here? There's quite a few.
CMT, what does that stand for?
That's the mover.
Oh, that kind, okay.
Yeah. The Wyndham Regional Commission, theirs is in here, their assessment. So any assessment that is in the general fund budget was
Okay.
paid out in this warrant.
Okay.
There's a couple of overpayments, from the homestead exemption, so you'll see some names in here, a couple names of taxpayers.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out who our social service folks are.
Oh,
Do,
you're gonna test my memory. Youth Services of Wyndham. Let me see, Visiting Nurse Alliance. And Southeastern Vermont Community Services. Sevka's in here too. Putney Community Center, Putney Community Cares,
next stage?
Next Stage, yep. Healthcare and Rehabilitation. The Southeast Vermont Transit is your mover. Senior Solutions PEG is another one. So all the ones that are in.
Is the food shop in here somewhere?
That is Putney Community Center. They're like,
Oh, they're mixed in with that one.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. It's just because it's hard, I'm not used
It's
to
a
reading
different
this particular format.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened, so
That's-
I'll take responsibility that you didn't have the warrants in your packets, because,
It's okay.
It's okay, in some ways I kind of like this one, because it breaks it down by, it gives us description, which is actually kind of interesting and helpful to me.
We can
I just would have to get used to reading it this way.
stay away from
What'd you say? Put mine out
Figures
this
that
way.
way.
Right.
I could see that this would be useful, but possibly not for just glancing at.
Well, if we were used to glancing at it,
Okay.
a little more training. So the Putney Food Shelf is in there too.
Okay.
It's on page 2 of that document in your hand.
Well, I don't see something that says food shelf specifically, but I believe you.
It says Food Shelf, Putney Food Shelf. It's like 1, 2, third one down. $8,484. Do you not have it? All right.
It's okay. I
It's
believe
okay.
You. I totally believe
It's
you.
in there.
It's all good.
Trust me.
All right. Are there any other questions on the warrants? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any, are you abstaining or? Do you guys have them?
I don't have it, so I think it'd be best to abstain.
Okay. So they still pass though, because we have 3 votes.
Right.
Okay. Next up is the fire and rescue status report.
So that would be, Evan Martin is with us this evening, and he is head of services for EMS here in Putney. So you have a title. But
So-
I want to recognize Evan, and he's going to speak on behalf of the department.
Okay, great.
And with us tonight, we also have Billy Strauss, who's a lieutenant with Putney EMS, as well as Chief Hazelton from Rescue Inc. So all in all, over the last few weeks, it's been fairly busy. There's been a total of 49 calls for service. Out of that, there's been 15 fire calls, 28 EMS calls, and 6 co-responses. So that's where both fire and EMS are both activated. In your packets, it should have the call breakdown. Outside of that, there's a few car crashes out on 91, a couple unfounded car crashes, which was basically a crash detection from cell phones being dropped out of cars. So that was kind of unique for the last couple weeks.
Wait, what?
So the iPhones have a feature that if there's some kind of impact, I'm not sure how to explain it, but it'll actually activate 911. So we've had a couple of those responses over the last couple
So
weeks.
people like left them on top of their cars and it fell off the roof and
Yep.
in the crash. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, I did that one time and nobody came to help me. I lost my phone.
That doesn't surprise me.
Where was EMS when it was needed?
Outside of that, we've held a training last night with a bunch of our mutual aid departments. We had Dr. Swozy up. He had a presentation on patient refusals as well as strokes. So it's nice to get a bunch of the different towns together again and start working together and training together. I also included the upcoming trainings. So if there's anything of interest that you want to swing into, feel free. But yeah, that's Billy, unless you have anything to add, that's kind of the last couple weeks of activity.
Yes, we did have about 40 people at this training in the fire station last night.
Yep.
It was great.
That's terrific.
What's the best way to segue?
I can segue you in if you like.
Sure.
I have a
So,
question. I have a question. What's patient refusal?
So that's if you get called somewhere and the patient signs off, so the patient refuses transport. That could be for a number of different reasons. That's just someone that does not accept transport to the hospital.
okay.
Does Nate or Fletcher, do either of you have questions so far? Or comments? No. Okay. Okay. Go for it.
So I want to segue into and remind the board that capital equipment, whether it's for the department, emergency response department, or town hall, whatever, it's important, certain pieces of equipment need to be, in operation. Evan is here to explain the cardiac heart monitor.
Okay.
That was on the capital plan to be replaced in 2023.
Okay.
And it's very important, and I'm going to be working with the department to look at the capital and start figuring out how we're going to purchase equipment that is needed to save lives. So if you want to take it away.
So if we have questions too, Chief Hazelton has a lot more information and knowledge and depth on the actual products. But essentially what happened is our Life Pack, which is a Life Pack 12, that's our cardiac monitor. So that does your 12 leads, it does your SpO2, so your oxygen saturation readings, blood pressure monitoring, and a host of other things. That's also our primary AED for cardiac calls. So our Life Pack 12 that we currently own has basically aged out. Went back for recertification, found out that the Life Pack can no longer be certified, so it cannot be used. Thankfully, Rescue Inc. has loaned us one of their spares in the meantime. I brought forward 2 quotes to Karen. One is a certified pre-owned Life Pack 15, and one is a brand new Life Pack 35, which just came out. The Life Pack 35 runs about $51,500, The certified pre-owned life pack 15 runs just shy of 21,000. We had a lot of conversation with Chief Hazelton as well as the sales reps, and I think what we're going to be trying to ask for is to move forward with the certified pre-owned 15 for the 21,000. It's a system that we're used to. It's a system that is still going to provide us with plenty of life. So it's guaranteed for 8 years, but more than likely you'll be able to use it for 10, 15 years. Chief Hazelton can explain that a little bit better than me. Where the Life Pack 35, it's got a bunch of advanced features that we honestly won't be using. And it's more, glorified as far as what it can do, but in reality, that's more for a transporting agency, that advanced skills and for paramedics, stuff that we're not going to utilize. So the cost difference of $30,000, I don't feel is necessary. If it came down to it, I'd rather see town hall or the pool or somewhere else get AEDs with that money to help with early defibrillation. So
Yeah, because we don't have those yet, right?
No, we do not.
right. So that's kind of where we are with that. And do you have anything to throw in towards that to clear it up?
Yeah, I can get just a quick kind of history. So LifePack is a brand, so it's made by Physio Control. There's only there's technically 3 vendors in the market right now for pre-hospital cardiac EMS style defibrillators. The one that's used in this area, including by the hospitals and the facilities, is Physio Control, which makes the LifePack product. LifePack 12, which is what Putney owns, came on the market about 30 years ago.
Wow.
The LifePack 15, which was it's a very similar looking product, upgraded. It's been out on the market now for 15 plus years. The way that Physio does their products is they will guarantee support and service for 8 years after the last unit is manufactured. So the LifePack 15 is still being manufactured and sold new units in the US. So we know that product will still be on the market or still be serviceable by Physio for at least 8 years. What we saw with the LifePack 12 is that support was much longer than the 8 years post kind of stop of the manufacturer. It wasn't until 2023 when those monitors were no longer allowed to be certified. Every year your cardiac monitor has to go through a biomedical inspection in order to be used on patients. And up until last year, LifePack 12 could go through a biomedical inspection and get certified for use. No longer is that the case. But the LifePack 15, the version 4 that Evan's talking about, is the monitor that is current. It's the same version of the monitor that's being produced today. So we should have a minimum of 8 years of serviceable life.
And the aging out, was that a Vermont requirement, or was because it was no longer being serviced by the company?
So it's nationwide. So for healthcare, everything that you're using on patients has to go through biomedical inspection.
Okay.
And they will only inspect as long as the manufacturer of the equipment says they can continue to inspect. So
Okay.
some of the other kind of advantages, we at Rescue are going to continue to use the LifePack 15s for some time. At some point we will likely switch, start phasing in some of LifePack 35s. Some of the key things that and again, Evan mentioned, is that there's no training difference because the LifePack 15, LifePack 12 operate the same. In fact, since whenever we came up and started doing first response up here is when we pulled that monitor out of service because it wasn't certified. They've been using one of our LifePack 15s here. So the training is up to snuff in that realm. And we also keep spare parts. So we have cables, batteries, and stuff. So having it interoperable means that when somebody accidentally nicks, cuts, breaks a cable or a connector, we can get things back up and running. So we have, I think we have like 14 of them in our system right now. So.
Okay. Do Nate or Fletcher have any questions?
No.
Okay. Billy?
Just one other thing to add. to what Drew Nevin said is that because rescue is using the same unit, it means that in terms of a patient that we've worked up using our LifePak 15, it's very easy to unplug the cables and rescue can just plug in their LifePak 15 and, you know, we're not having to rip pads off or
Oh,
rip sensors off or
yeah.
switch, you know, two SAT clips or anything. So it's, at least for the foreseeable future, that handoff will remain very efficient if we go with the 15 rather than the 35.
Okay. Karen, do we need to make a motion on this?
I would recommend you make a motion. We do have funds in the public safety fund to cover this purchase, and because it can save a life, I don't wanna see this board wait. So if you
Sure,
can do
if-
it this evening,
Yeah, I
that'd be
mean,
great.
okay.
The other
I was
thing-
curious whether we had to, but yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
Well, it's an emergency situation, and it's gonna be, what, 6 weeks to
So the certified pre-owns, when I last spoke with a rep, they had a few on hand. So it can almost be an immediate turnaround from the time
Okay.
of order. Now, if someone has ordered them in the meantime, it could be a week, could be up to 6 weeks. So hopefully there's still some in stock.
Can you give me the name of that again, the certified pre-owned what, LifePak 15?
LifePak 15 version 4.
For the amount of what?
It's going to be in the amount of 20.
$20,950.31.
Gotta have that 31 cents, all right. So we wanna make a, yeah.
I just have a question I want to follow up, Karen, because I think what Eileen was asking, what I'm curious too. The question I don't think was whether we support this, but whether we need to vote on this. Like, could you just explain that for me so I understand that?
So because it's coming out of the special fund, the public safety reimbursement fund, I would prefer you vote on it in public.
Because it's a
Sure.
yeah, special
Yes.
fund,
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wondered that.
Yeah.
So can I hear a motion to, approve the purchase of a certified pre-owned LifePak 15 version 4 in the amount of $20,950.31.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of a certified pre-owned LifePak 15 version 4 in the amount of $20,950.31. Is there further discussion among the board? Nate?
Nope.
Fletcher?
No,
Okay.
thanks.
Are there any comments in the room about this or questions? Any comments online about this purchase? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we have done that.
Thank you, Drew,
Yeah, that was great.
Thank
and
you.
Evan, and Billy for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the report and the explanation. We're
Absolutely.
learning stuff every day.
Have a good night.
Thank
You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next up is Selectboard New Business. First up is Architectural Services Town Hall Renovation Recommendation to award contract, which is Sue.
Did we skip over something here?
Oh,
I believe you
I
all
am
have.
so
Was there
sorry.
something else you needed
I
to do
did
first? The
sound-
town
I did-
managers report? Yes.
that was too.
I'm not even paying
That was too exciting.
I'm paying attention.
Oh, now you guys are.
Have that. Have that.
Nobody stopped me either.
Alright.
All right, go ahead. Sharon, I suppose you can have a report.
So Jeff Nugent with Wyndham Regional Commission inspected both the Putney Mountain Road and Signal Pine grants and aid projects. And he stated both projects look great. He was really impressed with the contractor and our highway crew, especially with Lenny. This is his first grant project. So
Okay.
he took pictures and pictures were sent to the state. I will submit the grants this week because Wyndham Regional had a couple billing invoices that went along with the grant work. So, I have to say, you know, he appreciated the work that was completed and he was impressed. So that's
Yeah.
good news. Lenny and I both attended a road foreman's meeting on Tuesday, October 22nd at Newbrook Fire Department. We gained some new resources and there's money out there to do more culvert work
Oh, good.
in different grants. So Lenny and I are gonna work together and look at some projects. So not only culverts, but bridges, which are more expensive. But if we can, you know, identify them and then have the engineering done and maybe the stream alteration permits, you know, ahead of time. But, so I gained a lot of knowledge out of that meeting and I wasn't the only woman there. It was perfect. Let's see, town meeting preparation, I'm just like bringing it up because it's gonna start coming into our meetings, all right? And, but we need to start thinking about articles for town meeting outside of the normal ones, you know, for budget. You know, we've already talked about them already. So I'm gonna keep on reminding you folks, as well as myself, and start getting a schedule and a list together. Michael Maricki has organized a roundtable with Becca Ballant, Congressperson, to discuss promoting rural economies. This event will be at the Putney Fire Station tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And if any of the select board members are interested, you're all invited. The public, this is a public session too, so the public is also invited. So the round table will have some leaders. I'm gonna be on the panel. Lisa Papazian, Sue Coakley are both gonna be on the panel. So
Yeah, I can't make it. It's unfortunate. I wanted to too, but I can't do it.
yeah,
For one thing, it's Halloween.
I
I
know.
have to get ready for Halloween. But yeah, so if anybody else can come out for an hour, I think it's an hour, right? During the
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay,
Yeah.
hour and a half during the noon
Yeah.
hour.
So
I'm gonna try.
Adam Granol's gonna be there. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you can make it, it'd be great. Let's see what else. I met with Catherine Trapani. She's an economic development representative for Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. So Adam Granol arranged the meeting, and so the three of us met. Catherine can assist the town with viable economic industrial projects in public infrastructure, employment opportunities, and FEMA disaster projects. So this is a new contact
Okay, the name sounds familiar.
in resource that we can tap into,
Okay.
especially for economic development in the village.
Lisa?
Just where is she from, Karen?
She is from Maine, actually.
But I mean, an agent, is she a federal agency? Or she's just a
No.
consultant?
Yeah, she's a consultant. So,
Thank you.
so Catherine suggested working with Northern Borders is a plus for small rural towns. And she also talked about revolving loan funds. But, you know, you have a conversation like that, it's kind of all starts getting muddled. The water policy, I wanted to bring this up to the select board, and I know we're due for our 20-year analysis of the wastewater treatment plant. And, you know, trying to find a second well, but our water policy is outdated. And recently through the summer, there's been several occasions where people want to fill up pools or ponds from the hydrant at the fire station. So the policy reads that any water from the fire hydrants are for fire suppression only.
Okay.
So, we need to discuss this. You know, I can say no, or we can charge people. But I can tell you several contractors have taken water from the municipal system. One project was in another town for a paving project. So we need to really like refine this policy because as you know, it's a user fee-based system.
Yeah.
It's the
Metered too, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And there's no meter on on any hydrant.
Right.
And some towns have a meter and then they charge appropriately.
Yeah.
And we also have two different rates for water. We have a Dummerston rate and we have a Putney rate.
We do.
So I want to be clear.
The Demerson rate's higher, right?
It is higher.
Good.
Here's the thing. So the water, you know, it's per gallon, it's like 1 penny.
Okay.
So if somebody wants 1,000 gallons of water, they're paying $10. And that doesn't seem reasonable, you know. 18,000 gallons.
I know this has come up a couple times. So
Yeah.
so how do we move forward with that? Can we just change that particular part of the policy?
I think we need to really look at it and see, one, if we want to change it, and two, if we want to charge, then it needs to be in the policy.
Okay, but we could just change that part. We don't have to go through the entire, because there are other issues with the
Oh, yeah,
policy, but
yeah.
we could, that sounds like fairly low hanging fruit
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can just pick
in
that
the scheme of the
section.
water policy.
Right. Now, the one, I gotta look at that too, because if it's a policy or an ordinance, you have to have public
Yeah.
hearings. So it may be more difficult.
Yeah, but it still sounds like something that it's pretty low hanging fruit, and it's, you know, if we did decide to charge people, then it's a source of revenue, which is what we're looking for, right? So,
Yes, source of revenue that would go into the water budget.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that helps everybody who's on the water system.
All right,
So Karen, are these are like filling up big tankers
It will
with
fill up
water,
their
and
water.
they take it over and put it in their ponds, is that, or
Or their
whatever?
pools.
all right, yeah,
Swimming
so
pools.
18,000 gallons for an in-ground pool, right? So you charge 1 cent per gallon, it's $180.
No, I was just really talking about how they transport, I know nothing about buying and transporting large amounts of water.
Yeah, so a
But
contractor would have a water truck.
Yeah, and they come and they load it up.
They fill it from our hydrant into
Yeah.
that
Well,
storage tank.
I support figuring out what a reasonable price is, more than a penny a gallon,
Yeah,
and bringing it to us. And I think that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I did a little research and I had Lisa call a few towns
Yeah,
around,
that's what I was
To
gonna
get a
ask.
rate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it fluctuates, but,
sure.
you know. I have an opinion, but I'm just not gonna share it right now, but, we definitely need to look at this,
Okay.
this particular.
How much would it? How hard is it to
Situation.
get a meter on the?
It's not hard, Chris Hayes says they can put one on there,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, so
do it.
let's put it on the next
Let's talk
agenda,
about
just start
it.
talking about it, yeah.
alright.
Um,
I can have that done,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
let's move on that.
alright. Thank you for addressing that one, babe, and that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I know what happened. I had fire and rescue committee here, so I put my check mark in front of Peg's name instead of the original one. So I'm back on track now. So the next thing is Putney Fire and Rescue Committee report, which is Peg.
Right. We continue to be plugging along. We kind of have a timeline to get to the end here. The committee we're planning at this moment on an early December community meeting. And before that, we will have I think it's 3 more meetings scheduled, 1 without our facilitator, 2 with our facilitator. And then after that community meeting, we'll meet for a couple more times to get our report together to bring back to the select board.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at. There's been a lot going on, lots of subgroups working, surveys of the fire department, folks. There's going to be another chance. A subgroup of the committee is meeting with the fire folks at their next meeting next week. So lots going on.
All right. Anybody on the select board have any questions for Peg? Anybody online have any questions about the Fire and Rescue Committee? Anybody in the room? Sue?
I just have one comment. As you schedule your community meeting, which sounds like a very good thing to have, the Planning Commission has one scheduled for the 18th of December.
I think we're the 9th of December.
Great. If we can avoid overlapping, that would be great.
Yeah, we're the 9th, and we've been talking to Meg Mott about help facilitating that meeting. So she hasn't committed 100%, but she's interested.
She's thinking about it.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Was there anybody online who wanted to speak? I heard a voice momentarily. No? Okay, just making sure.
Can I just make a comment? I just want to say the progress that we're making in the committee, we're gaining. I mean, it's complicated and complex. And I also want to add too that I'm working with a core group at the department. There's 5 people and myself, so I'm internally working with that group on like internal operations, like budgets and capital, and so we had a really good meeting last night. I'm very confident, and I think a lot of it is communication, open communication, and education. So.
Okay, good. Okay. If there's no other comments or questions, now we can move on to Selectboard New Business with the Architectural Services Town Hall Renovation Recommendation to Award Contract, which is Sue.
And I believe you all have a copy of a report in your packet there. Lisa, do you have it?
Yes.
Okay. I brought extra. Thank you. Never know.
Yes.
Needed.
I did read it.
You have it, Eric? Okay, great. All right. So I am Sue Coakley. I'm part of the Town Hall Renovation Committee, which has been an ad hoc committee that's been meeting for over a couple of years now to plan the Town Hall renovation. It includes Lisa Papazian, the town manager, and myself. I've been the most recent addition since I've been chairing the Planning Commission. This is a progress report of the committee. I gave one last month, or earlier this month, I suppose. And at this point, this report is to make a couple of requests for the Select Board's approval. They're on the first page, written as you might make a resolution, trying to help you in that regard, and then an explanation about them. But we've done a lot of work. We're now at the stage of engaging architectural engineering services to do the next phase of design to prepare for construction. So what we're asking is for the Select Board to empower the town manager to contractually engage with one of the respondents to the RFP, the one that we selected as the best fit based on criteria, Vermont Integrated Architecture, to provide architectural engineering services for phase 1, schematic design for the town hall renovation restoration. Phase 1 not to exceed a cost of $54,500, with the ability for the town manager to extend the contract with VIII for additional architectural and engineering services to support the completion of the project through construction and final commissioning at a total cost of not to exceed $200,000, which you might note was the amount of money the town provided through ARPA funding. And there's a relationship between these things. And the second thing, and I'm going to go and explain this, but just good to hear the two requests, I think, up front. The second one is to adopt a renewed town hall project management roles and responsibilities set that is attached to here, because we're now at the stage of a much more complex project, and we want to have transparency, accountability, and clarity about who's involved in decision making, and to engage additional support for the process. So I will talk about that. Well, those are the two things that the committee, the three of us, advising really Karen, is requesting here tonight. So just backtracking a little bit, as you know, as you approved it, there was an RFP for architectural engineering services that was put out August 9th. And we received 5 proposals. 4 of those were all worth looking at further. 1 did not meet the minimum requirements in our view. And we reviewed them based on the criteria that are in the RFP that are listed here in the memo. We were assisted by Bob Goldberg, who is the owner of York Construction, he's a builder here in town, and then also Tom Jameson of the Putney Historical Society, and Peter Rood, who is a municipal planning and development consultant, who provided input on the whole thing. And we'll come back to Peter in a moment, but having their input of those 3 people was extremely helpful as we were reviewing the architectural proposals. So in the end, when we finished reviewing them based on those criteria, we came to the understanding that in adopting any proposal, we had a lot of variability in what the full cost would be based on what the final construction cost would be. In most cases, a good percentage of the cost was a percent of construction costs. But we didn't know really what the construction costs would be until we had done the initial schematic design. And then, based on that, we could have a very clear idea of what the cost of the project could be and the choices to make to fit within what we think is reasonable to expect funding for the project. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. You can't go for additional funding until you have the schematic designs and all of that. So we, in consultation with the others, the 3 of us, agreed that it makes most sense to work with an architectural firm for phase 1 schematic design, and then go on to additional set of services to finish the project. But we know what we're getting into. We'd make some choices. We would come to you and say, here's the amount of money that we're coming for. And we felt we had more comfort taking this stepwise approach. We felt that VIII was the best firm partly because they seemed best prepared to provide the help we need as a town. We need a lot of help to do this. We don't have a lot of onboard professional services to do a fairly significant construction project. This is a big one for Putney to do, including the historic restoration, so it's complex to accomplish all of our outcomes. So we also felt that we also saw their schematic design approach was basically competitive with the other architects in terms of what they would cost, but they would provide a much fuller cost accounting, really soup to nuts on the project renovation, right to moving in. You know, equipment, furniture, what were all the costs we need to be able to have money to do. So we felt that they provided really the very best background in historic restoration and doing a project like this. So listed here are the services they'll provide. They'll assist with community outreach. We'll finally begin an ongoing effort to listen to what community wants and expects from the process. They'll have a defined, detailed scope of work for the renovation. As we request, they may be project phasing. If we can't afford all of it once, can we phase the project? total project budget, assistance to procure construction management services, and assistance really to define the pathway forward. What else are we going to need to make it work? So we believe that doing this is really the best way to go, and will give us information we need to make a decision for the rest of it, as well as to do fundraising. So that is, and one other thing I just want to note, that VIII agreed that they're committed to providing a scope for the remaining design services appropriate to the scope of the project we decide on and available funding. So it really is for us to decide what we want, and they will then give us a proposal based on that. So we feel very clear that's a good way to go and recommend it. There's other things to mention, but I could pause here and just see if there's any questions or anything else that either Lisa or Karen, if they may, add to my overview here.
Is there any questions? Nate or Fletcher, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. So far so good.
Okay, then I'll continue. So as we move into this next phase, which is going to be more complex and sophisticated, we felt the need to clarify the roles and responsibilities of all the participants, including the select board. Like, if we look at the whole project, who's deciding what and based on what? So we created a basic roles and responsibilities chart that is attachment A here that we would like to have approved. You will see that if you go to attachment A, that the select board would have over public accountability for the project, approving project plan, funding, and contracts like we are here talking about tonight, empowering the town manager to serve as the overall project director to oversee the planning, development, fundraising, and completion with public input, and to support the town hall renovation as a town plan implementation priority, which you have already done with ARPA funding, but to continue that role. The town manager would then be the project director responsible for seeing the project to be planned, funded, undertaken, and completed that meets the design intent to serve the town and the tenant needs, which is the Putney Historical Society, and complies with the relevant federal, state, municipal budgets, policies, and procedures. So there's a list of things that the town manager would do as director. One of those things includes the town manager to convene a renewed Putney Town Hall Leadership Advisory Committee, advisory to the town manager. That's converting this ad hoc renovation committee that Lisa, myself, have been on with Karen to include others. So we will move into this other phase of a committee, of a advisory committee. And they would advise and assist the project planning, development, fundraising, reporting, and completion. They would advise and assist select board reports and briefings like this. They advise recruitment and engagement of contracted services like they did for the architectural services RFP. Advise and assist community outreach and education, which is an important next step in this next phase. Advise and assist project fundraising. And the participants would be the town manager, a Putney Historical Society board member, a planning commission member. Now here's a question mark, select board member, community member with building or design experience, and a development advisor. And we've identified all those individuals except for the select board member. Different towns have done it different ways. It is something that's reporting to the town manager, that's reporting to the select board, but a select board member who's very interested in the project and is really, in some ways, a recipient of the benefits. The town is a recipient of the benefits of the project. Could be on it as a voting, but we don't really have non-voting. We haven't come up with a procedure, but as a non-voting member, it's all advisory to the town manager who would make the decisions about what to do based on the advice given. And then the other part, last page of the...
One second, Sue,
Yes.
I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
So this advisory committee
Yeah.
is an advisory to the town manager.
Town manager, not the select board. Very important.
Yeah, that's, I'm just letting that
Yeah.
sink in.
Yeah.
I love that idea. But I also have notes here about, Karen, what do you think? That's a lot to do, and
Yeah.
how do you feel that, I don't know whether now is the time to direct that question, but that is a question in my head, as I want to hear from Karen about how this very large job fits into your very large job.
Why don't you continue on and then we'll get our questions answered.
Great.
Let me think about that.
Well, and I think maybe the rest of this information will help you thinking about that, because there's a whole ecosystem of support in this project. And so the Leadership Advisory Committee is the one that's, and it's volunteer, except for one person. The Development Advisor is somebody that we would be contracting, and there's money, we believe, from the Vermont Housing Conservation Board's Rural Economic Development Initiative READY program that would pay for a good portion of that assistance. So that's great. But the rest, other than town employees like the town manager, would be pro bono, serving on the committee. I think it's important for you to understand. The architect is another important member of the whole Lexus of the system that's going to create this. And so there's a role of, what they will be doing. These will be contracted services. So I won't go through the detail of it unless you want to, but it's there listed. It is the kinds of things we put in the RFP. And it will be in the contract over time. And then we expect that there will be a construction manager who will basically oversee a lot of the costing of materials and a number of other responsibilities, just to make sure the project is landing where it should in the end. The architect will be assisting with that, but the construction manager will be specifically engaged to do that and to support our fundraising as well, provide information that we need to do that. So that is the full set of participants and roles and responsibilities that we recommend is appropriate at this time. The next section here is that who it is that would serve on this committee, the advisory committee. And at the moment, the recommendation, this is Karen, on behalf of Karen, saying this. Of course, chaired by Karen, and then Lisa would continue. I would continue. Do we have a select board member? A community member with building and design experience, and Bob Goldberg, who assisted the review of the respondents to the RFP, has agreed. He's a Putney resident, builder, owner of your construction company. He knows a lot. It's extremely helpful to have him on there, and I really appreciate that he's willing to participate. We all do. And then development advisor is Peter Rude, who used to be town manager for Guilford. Some of you may know him from that. And he is now a municipal planning and development advisor. And it was, again, very helpful to have him on the review of the architectural proposals. So that would be the group, and that would be for Karen to choose.
Can you speak to that role of development advisor? What?
Yeah, the development advisor, one of the things we need for this project still is money.
Right, that's what you mean by development.
It will help us.
I get it then. Okay, I just wasn't sure because we were talking about a construction development project.
Yes. Help us develop a whole stack of funding options that address the range of outcomes. And in some cases also help with grant writing, that would be an additional optional thing, but really guiding us to figure out how to fund it, to minimize how much, for example, would have to go to bond.
Fletcher, did you have a question?
No, thanks.
All right. So Peter would be funded through.
So the Vermont Housing Conservation Board has a program called Rural Economic Development Initiative, and they essentially provide assistance to towns on project management, development, these types of things, grant writing. And they have a group of contractors that work for them. Pater's one of those people. And when a town requests a project, they will then give you a chance to talk to consultants. And if there's one you'd like to work with, that consultant provides a scope of work that you would like them to do to the READY program. And then they fund it. And essentially they work for the Vermont Housing Conservation Board's group, the READY program, but they're working to help us. So that is in the works right now. The proposal is on its way.
Okay, and then I guess the rest of it would be funded through our budget.
That's right.
That is the expectation, okay.
Yeah. So
I
that's the group.
Okay.
And the last thing is that I had hoped to put in here an award from the MERP grant. It was due last Friday, but they've had leadership changes at the Building and Grounds Administration, and so they wanted another week. So we will find out on Friday whether we have that funding.
Okay.
Let me note that 20% of the money that we get, we asked for $500,000, is for soft costs. So for project planning, design, all of that. So that gives us a little more room to be able to support some of the activities we need at this stage of schematic design. The last thing I'll just mention, in terms of the VIII contract and the amount of $200,000, that turns out to be about the amount that it could be. But it is also very important at this point that the town is obligating that money to a project contract, so to speak, because it is ARPA money and the state is requiring that money now to be clearly obligated to something.
Yeah.
So by doing this, we at first had thought we could just take the whole contract on and be done, but we're taking it stepwise. But the resolution essentially here is to propose this initial $54,600 amount for the schematic design, and then up to $200,000 would be the next that we would go to. It could be less, and if it turns out that it would cost more, we'd have to find other funding to do it. But that's one of the reasons to scope it this way right now.
Okay.
Karen, is there anything else you wanted to say about that? Because
No.
that's one of the intents here.
Yeah, I had noted that, I don't remember where I saw it, but I had been meaning to double check that all the ARPA money was clearly obligated.
It's obligated or under contract,
Yeah,
except for this 200,000.
okay, so
this-
everything else has been, okay.
Yes.
All right. Lisa?
And this will do it, this.
This will do it.
Okay.
That's why
This one, I know we had a couple of different
That's
conversations.
why the resolution is written this way, so it's clear that we're doing an initial amount towards a total amount of the 200,000.
Okay. Did you have some questions?
Just to Karen about your role in all of this and how you feel that will fit into your job and how that, if that feels doable to you.
It's a lot of work, but I think the team that we've created, I believe the team that we have will, I'm not gonna be doing all the work. There's other people that'll be feeding me the information. This is a huge project and complex. There's a lot of different unknowns, but having Sue and Lisa on this team has, it's made it, doable because of their experience. So I think everyone adds to the team and I pull my hair out sometimes. I've been doing it for the last 2 years.
We still have pretty good
We haven't called yet, so.
But we're gonna get through it. It's a goal and we've already got this ball rolling and we're not stopping right now.
Okay, I just am
So
looking out for you as
I
our
appreciate you
town
asking.
manager, and, I just wanna make sure that this isn't gonna push you over the edge. So,
I'll let you know when I'm on the flip
Okay.
okay? But thank you for asking. I really appreciate it.
Okay, and I guess the other question is there a select board member who would like to be a member of the Leadership Advisory
Well,
Committee?
It's sort of two questions, if I may. First of all, do you want this to include a select board member?
Okay,
We think it's valuable because you bring a perspective that's really important to the project as we go along.
guess I was backing into that question to see if there was anybody who
I
wanted to
see,
be on
this
it.
question is there somebody, oh, I see, okay, great.
Nate or Fletcher, do either of you have any interest or time in being part of this advisory committee? Nate's saying no. Fletcher is
I don't think I can add something else right now.
okay. All right. Anybody in the table? There's no takers there.
It's okay, don't.
it looks so interesting.
It's very interesting.
It looks
I'm not
so
sure I
interesting.
can really.
This is the best committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you expect this to get rolling?
Yeah, I guess that would be my
and
question.
What's your
Tomorrow.
timeline?
Tomorrow.
This advisory
Tomorrow, as I've
committee.
already said, is Halloween.
We'll be meeting next week.
Yeah, the advisory. No, I gotta get through the fires.
Yeah.
First.
I mean, I could probably get involved
Board of
later in
Civil
the.
Authority stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of pieces and parts right now that, I mean, we're in the BCA's right now, BCA hearings.
Right.
We're in the middle of, town meeting
Mhm.
preparation, so I could see myself maybe getting involved in the spring, but not right now.
Mhm.
So I suppose we could revisit it.
Let's do that, maybe
Yeah.
after town meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because we'll also, we have elections done
Yeah,
there too.
agreed.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Lisa?
Well, I think that once we engage the architects, there's going to be immediately a flurry of
Right.
activity to
Right.
get something figured out by hopefully February. So there might be a point between now and February when there are some specific questions that we would want to have your input on, but we
Okay.
could be
Right.
targeted with those questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be coming to the board.
yeah. So I
Full
guess that's the next. I
transparency.
guess that's the next best thing. You'll just come to the board and tell all of us the things you would.
Well, we would plan to continue the progress
Yeah.
reporting.
Yeah.
So
So
that you
Right.
are up to date about that. We do plan to do public engagement. We don't have a plan for that yet, but that's
Yeah.
coming. We'd like you to know about that, and we'd like that to be announced here. So we will be keeping you informed, and we'll be keeping a chair ready.
okay. All right.
When that can happen.
So I guess the answer is that we're not gonna have select board representation on that committee right now, but we're looking forward to more progress. Are there other questions or comments on the board? Fletcher or Nate, are there comments online? Comments in the room? Okay, so it looks like we want to have two motions here. One is, can I hear a motion to empower the town manager to contractually engage Vermont Integrated Architecture for a cost not to exceed $54,600 with the ability to extend the contract with VIII for additional services for a cost up to $200,000. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to empower the town manager to contractually engage Vermont Integrated Architecture to provide architectural and engineering services for a cost not to exceed $54,600 with the ability to extend the contract with VIA for additional services for amount up to $200,000. Is there further discussion among the board? Any comments online? Any comments in the room? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that has been done. So we're on our way. Yay!
Thank you.
Okay, and the next one
Good
is,
job. Thank you. Oh,
to adopt the Renew Town Hall project management role and responsibilities, I think.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the Renew Putney Town Hall project management roles and responsibilities as written. Any other further comments on the board? Discussion on the board? What you're saying, no? Nate?
No, thanks.
Okay, are there comments online from the public? Any comments in the room? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, you got that one too?
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, this is exciting that we're working on this.
It is.
yeah.
Sorry, I have to hold.
Yes. By all means,
Yeah, I gotta do some things.
Thank you.
bolt away.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a good
and I guess
night.
we'll hear on Friday,
I
right?
guess we have to talk to Henry tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should do a conference call.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah.
we'll talk tomorrow about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Have a good
Thank
night.
See ya.
Okay, moving on to a request to expend $11,763.50 from the pool fundraising fund for a grant match. That's you, Karen.
It is. So I had mentioned that I applied for a recreational grant
Yeah.
to replace both sets of steel doors at the pool.
Yeah.
So we were awarded the grant.
Nice.
It's 50%. So I'm asking for the other 50% to be expended through the pool fundraising fund, which there is money in there to do that. I also gave you a copy of all the grants that were awarded. And I did notice Putney Community Center on here, but it does not look like they were awarded.
Oh, well.
And I'm wondering if it's a competitive. So I'm gonna ask that question because I feel, if we're competing for grants,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know ahead of time because I think,
Mm.
what they're asking for, that money could have helped them. And we could have maybe waited on the pool doors, but I guess that's competition, right?
I mean, that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that, so.
Yeah.
But the doors do need to be replaced. I thought about the town hall doors too, but that's gonna be wrapped up in the whole renovation project. So I'm just happy and excited that we were awarded this grant.
Yeah. I'm looking at the ones that.
I know,
awarded. Very
I'm looking
interesting.
too at what did and what
Looks like,
didn't.
it
It's
looks like
fascinating.
they didn't go so much for upgrading ductwork and upgrading electrical systems. It was more about truly recreational things, except they didn't allow the purchasing new bike racks and pop-up tents.
Right.
But Washington got given a whole bunch of other money, so maybe that's why. Anyway,
But it's interesting to see
yeah,
where that money's going.
cool. So, before we get too sidetracked, okay, so, can I hear a motion to expend $11,763.50 from the pool fundraising fund for a grant match?
Seconded.
Is there further discussion among the board? Nate Fletcher?
No, thanks.
Any comments online? Any comments in the room? You sure?
$22,000 for doors.
Hey,
That's the quote we received. It's a company out of Keene. So they're steel doors, they're double doors.
Like regular swinging double doors.
Yeah, so they can open.
That seems like an astronomical amount of money for a couple of doors to me.
That's the quote I have, so,
Are they the exterior doors?
yes,
To the building?
are
yes.
they like fire not fire suppressant, fire safety doors
Yeah,
with
I
steel
would
vandalism?
imagine, yes.
Yeah,
You know, if they're weather resistant and they're doing the tracks on the bottom too.
uh-huh.
You know, cause like the back set, the water comes in and so.
I think doors could be pretty expensive these
Is that a
days.
sliding door or a swinging door?
They're swinging, they're double doors.
Just like that set, only steel.
Only
No,
There's-
they're exterior doors.
They're
exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
so you open one and if you wanna open the other
Yeah.
one, you can, and they have security latches and things are not cheap anymore.
I'm well aware.
All right. Any other comments online? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're good? Okay. Next up is Better Roads Category A, Grant Road Erosion Inventory Letter of Intent. Are you trying to use all the letters in the alphabet with these?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is one of the grants that we learned about in that road foreman's
Okay.
gathering. And so this basically, we have to do a reassessment of our road erosion inventory. And it's due by 2027. So the fact that we learned about this, and money will run out, so the letter is here to get this process started.
What does that mean? What are they gonna look at?
So basically, they're gonna do what they've already done. So they're looking at all the hydraulically connected segments of the roads.
Okay.
Some of our road segments are already done, but with the amount of storms we're having and, you know, the storm damage that's reoccurring.
So it's an inventory of like possible issues rather than,
Well, it's an inventory of all of the roads.
Okay.
and
What does
all of-
hydraulically connected mean?
That means like,
No, hydraulic.
so there's segments and there's so many feet long, I forget what it was. We just went through this with the grants and aid. And so each segment, if it's connected to like a outlet, like a culvert, or if it doesn't have any, you know, so hydrologically connected, the water would like, you know, go from A to B through, you know, you're trying to keep the water out of the streams is what you're trying to do and disperse it.
so if there's like, I'm gonna use my road as an example. So my road is dirt and it's steep and
Mm-hmm,
they do trench it on one side. And then
yeah,
there's a culvert at the end of it.
yeah.
That water, I assume, that comes off of the side of the road goes directly into that stream right there. So they'd be looking at stuff like that?
Right.
Okay.
And depending on the slope, Eileen, you know,
Yeah.
dictates if you're gonna have, you know, rock in there,
Yeah,
or you're just gonna seed it.
yeah,
So that's what they're looking at.
okay.
And I think they do the reassessment inventory based on, although you have to put any segment that's finished has to go into the computer. So I would think they would be able to know how many segments we have left.
Mhm.
But reoccurring storms too can make another segment like
Yeah, messed up again.
messed up.
Yeah,
And, you know, it might not have been on the first inventory, but it may show up on the second. So,
okay.
So basically, we're just
We're just asking.
asking for money to do this project. It's not costing us anything, and we're gonna
well,
get
it's gonna cost us 20%.
Can we do it in kind? Or,
No, this is something, well, maybe a little bit if, you know, the guys were out there with,
it does say in kind, but I guess it would have to be municipal staff time.
right,
There'd be somebody who would, I guess, be knowledgeable in the inventory piece, right? So-
right.
Okay,
It'd be somebody from the highway department.
yeah,
So the eligible costs, project cost is $11,740.
What is that?
Oh, sorry, it's kind of buzzing.
Oh, it's your phone, okay.
Yeah, it's buzzing. So the grant award would be $9,392 and the local match is $2,348.
Okay.
So,
not.
I mean, we're gonna have to do it at some point.
Right,
So,
so we might as well do it now.
Right.
All right. Is there any questions or comments on the board? Anybody online have any comments? Comments in the room? Okay, so can I hear a motion? What are we doing? To set a letter of intent to participate in the fiscal year 25 Municipal Roads, Better Roads Category A Grant, Road Erosion Inventory.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the letter of intent to participate in the FY 25 Municipal Roads, Better Roads Category A Grant, Road Erosion Inventory. Further discussion among the board? In the room, online? Anybody, any public online? Have any comments? Any comments in the room? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
thank you.
moving right along, quarterly September financial reports.
Did everybody get their heads around this?
It's another NIMRIC report. Are we getting rid of NIMRIC?
Not yet.
Mhm.
So this is just a teaser, you know, it's gonna educate you a little bit before we get into budgets.
Warm our brains up.
Yeah. So this is based on the first quarter. So July, August, and September.
Okay.
All I can say is right now we're in pretty good shape. General fund is, 35.96%. So it's a little bit high in the expenses, but, revenue will offset expenses. The other thing I want to mention about this general fund is property tax, right? Because we've had so many appeals and errors and omissions.
Yeah.
So that will impact the property tax, the first line in the revenue.
So when you're looking at the total expenditures, would you want it to be closer to 25%? Because it's in the first quarter?
Or 30, 30's,
All right.
but I'm not,
And what is it?
It's on the last, it's on page
Where?
7.
so it's on page 7.
Okay.
Yep. Also in January, I always ask departments to don't spend money unless you have to. So,
Okay, so we're in the 36%, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Highway department is at 29.44%.
Okay.
I think they're okay right now. Although, they did put tires on some trucks, the grader just got fixed. Which
Sure.
is,
You need the grader.
Yeah.
Okay.
and again, come January, things will slow down a little bit. Library's at 21.82%.
Go library. They win the award.
Not yet. We're still got some departments.
Oh, right.
I mean, they can win an award
Oh,
anyway,
right,
just
no,
not,
okay.
possibly not the percentage award.
Yes. I know the sewer department's gonna win that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sewer department's at 17.20. Smaller budget. No, maybe not
Oh, no,
smaller.
water department's gonna come in. Go water,
Yeah.
Go water.
go water.
9.13%. So right now, I'm not overly concerned about any one of these budgets.
Okay.
Um,
We don't have the fire department in here, is that?
Oh, no, the fire department's in the general fund,
Oh, it's in the general fund.
so. So on page 5, out of 7,
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep.
so there's 3 different sections for fire. And if you look at the overall public safety, which includes the sheriff's contract
Uh-huh.
and rescue and the dog officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're at
25.
19.17.
They're at 19.
If you add them up and average them. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The public safety?
If you took public safety, firefighting,
Oh, okay.
EMS,
On page
firefighting.
Okay.
6.
Okay, got
On
it.
page 6, yeah.
Okay. Good.
So what do I have here? So when we get into budget talks too, I just received the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office new rates for fiscal 26.
They went down, right?
No. And I do have Rescue's contract, which I mentioned that they'd like to see that signed by January,
Okay.
but November, we will be looking at budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Any comments on the board about the quarterlies? Anybody on, Nate? Have any questions or comments? Fletcher?
No, thanks.
All right. Anybody online have any questions or comments about the quarterly report? It's great fun reading. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. Moving on to the holiday schedule, November 27th, 2024. Oh,
Mike.
it's Wednesday, I see.
I put this
And
on
December
here
25th. Well, that's messed up.
just so you can start trying to
Alright.
figure out what you're gonna do.
So the 27th is the day before Thanksgiving, and the 25th is Christmas.
Right, and then the
Those
24th
the
is.
24th is Christmas Eve,
Right.
which is not ideal.
And I can't, there's no way we're gonna be able to do the 23rd, because I wouldn't have payroll or anything done, and I
Maybe,
have to, I can warn it here, but I can't guarantee I can have.
it would, at minimum, it's the warrants, right? So what if we, on the 11th, just authorized someone
Treasurer,
to pay, yeah.
the treasurer,
Yeah.
you can do
And
that.
we could think about doing that permanently too. We don't necessarily have to go through the warrants every time. We should think about that.
Yeah,
So why don't we put that on the December 11th agenda to authorize someone authorize the treasurer to execute the warrant, sign the warrants, that's the, yeah.
sign the checks, right, and then your warrants can be signed, in the following meeting.
We could do it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then November 20, so what's everybody's Thanksgiving schedules that week?
That's a conflict for me.
The whole week?
No, not the whole week, but
The 27th?
the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'd rather not meet that day. I mean, I could, but I would rather not.
The 26th then, is that okay?
Can everyone meet the 26th of November? Nate?
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay, Fletcher, do you think you can make that work?
Yes.
It's a Tuesday. Okay, is that good for you?
I think so.
All right, I haven't looked at my calendar.
November 26th, that would work, yes.
Hold on, let's look. nothing on November 20th. I had nothing on November 20th. Okay, so that works for everybody. So that's,
Okay.
so I guess we're aiming for a Tuesday, November 26th, and then no meeting on the week of Christmas.
Okay, and no meeting on the 27th.
Right. Oops. Makes sense. Did that. Just this one. All right. Everybody's got that on their radar? Okay. Moving on to Select Board Old Business, which is controlling the use of alcoholic beverages. Have not touched it. I'm hoping to get back on track after BCA hearings. So let's table that.
Okay.
Next is Select Board reports. Cannabis Control Board process and procedure. That's you, Nate.
Nothing new to report on that one.
Okay. Recreational Department.
We had our first meeting, October 17th, and I thought that was great. Oh, sorry, it's not a committee, so it's a work session, right? Or working group.
Yeah.
So there was 5 of us total. I thought that it went very well. We have another one on November 7th.
So,
Okay, great.
drag along.
Nice. Okay, well, I think we were gonna talk about public participation in a work session, but we decided to leave it on here just to make sure it's there. We have Select Board operating principle review and comment, and solar advice, well, have you done anything with that, Fletcher?
No, nothing yet.
Okay, and then there's the solar advisory committee and the 1% local tax option. Not sure why that's
Also
on
in
one line.
progress.
Okay. Alternative Transportation Advisory Committee, done nothing. Highway Access Policy,
Nothing.
Event Ordinance,
Nothing to report.
nothing to report.
You and I have to meet though.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so next piece is public comments on items not on the agenda. Is there anybody online who has any public comments on items not on the agenda? Anybody in the room? Okay. Do we need an executive session?
No.
All right. I like that. Oh, does anybody else feel the need for an executive session? I keep asking that question. Okay. Next meeting is November 13th, 2024 at 5:30 here at Town Hall and on Zoom. Can I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.